Okay, so it's 5:02, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So in case you guys don't know me, my name is Davis, and I'm one of the co-founders of Eazl. And I have a background in recruiting, which is very social network oriented. And but more than that, I've been really a sort of lead user on LinkedIn for a really long time, and it's been a tool that I've used with great success for a long time. And so, I think that it's something that actually there's a lot of research that shows that people who, professionals, especially managers, can get a lot of value out of tools like LinkedIn. Anyway, so before we get going, I'm just going to give you guys a quick tour of the platform here in Google Hangouts. So I'm just going to screen share here real quick because there are a few things. I know that my screen's looking kind of, like there's just a million screens here. But I have turned on the Q&A feature, and it takes a little bit of time for the Q&A feature to, like, for your questions to come into me. So if you have questions, go ahead and just ask them, even if it's before the Q&A at the end. And then at the end, I'll go through all the questions, and if there's something I can contribute, then I will answer your questions. The other thing I want to show you here is in the showcase, which is on the side here. There are a lot of resources that I've included here for you guys, and I'm going to go over them as we go, but as I reference the external resources that are available to you, this is where you can find them. And so I don't know exactly what it looks like in your screen, but it's this sort of tag button here that will give you access to these extra downloads. All right, cool. So I'm back on the screen here. All right, so I just wanted to start off the webinar with why we're doing this and why LinkedIn is important, and frankly, why we do Eazl. And the thing is that I believe that fundamentally people want to do good things with their lives because more people would prefer to be good than bad. So it's just that there are tools that give you access to being able to make your ideas come into life. And now LinkedIn is one of those tools. So that's why we're doing this, is to beef up your skills on LinkedIn so that you can realize your ideas more quickly and more effectively. Because after all, LinkedIn is a massive database of ambitious people. I think it's roughly 350 million people worldwide. So it's a really, really powerful network, and certainly in most developed countries, it's very prevalent. So anyway, as I mentioned, we'll do the Q&A at the end. So as you have questions, just go ahead and post them in the Q&A forum, even if it's not time for the Q&A yet. And then when it's time to do it, then I'll get to your questions. All right, so there are 3 things that you should get by being here at this live event. The first one is just an understanding of the strategic value of LinkedIn, and particularly the strategic value of making weak ties. So weak ties is something that we're going to talk about again here in a minute. The second thing is the key navigational tools in LinkedIn. Primarily, a lot of this is Boolean search techniques, which we go over in the career hacking course and in the LinkedIn courses. And we're going to actually do some of those live, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to do them for yourself so that you're not just watching me do it, but that you're trying it for yourself. So I encourage you to open your LinkedIn profile in an additional window in your browser so that you can do some of the things that I'm doing as we're doing them, because I'm going to give you space to practice them yourself so that you build that sort of memory about using the tools that we're talking about. And especially, we're going to have a session where we do some power networking, and that's where you're going to arrive at having some of your additional strategic contacts, like we promised in the event, is when you're actually doing the power networking alongside me. All right, and then so finally, we're going to wind up with sort of this. Hopefully, you're going to wind up with this attitude that is more active about making LinkedIn connections, and that's just to say that you start building it habitually into your sort of work practices, to where when you meet somebody or you read something about somebody, provided it's not like Richard Branson or Warren Buffett or some really famous person, you kind of just get used to going into LinkedIn, sending them a little connection request, and you'd be surprised how often Even really high profile people will connect back with you, and then they're in your network, they're getting your updates, and they're more accessible to you. Sometimes you get their email address, etc. All right, cool. So to start with, I was talking to you a little bit about the weak ties thing and why LinkedIn is so strategic. And so I'm going to show you this little graphic here. I'm going to start screen sharing again. All right, and then we're going to look at this graphic. All right, cool. So the graphic that you're seeing here is meant to be a very, very simplistic representation of a social network. So what you can see here is these blue dots that are on the one side of the screen. Let's say that that represents a particular social group. If, for example, maybe this blue dot represents, maybe this cluster of blue dots represents a small business that is a part of your professional world. So you might be able to, at the moment, imagine what the blue dots represent. Just think of a small business that you know about half of the employees, and that can be the blue dots. The green dots can be a similar business where you don't know any of the employees. And let's say that the gray dots are more of a medium-sized business that you can think of, and you don't really know anybody there yet. Okay, so what we're talking about here, guys, is the power of weak ties. Because as you see here, if you are represented by the big pink dot, then you have ties already with 4 out of 8 of these people in the blue cluster. And the reason that that's important is that basically the information that's being circulated within this blue community, if you can think of that, is redundant. What that means, everybody, is that if you were to add an additional connection with somebody in the blue cluster, as it were, you're probably not going to get that much new information from them, because the blue cluster shares a lot of their same information, right? Because they're all part of a closely knit cluster. So by adding one connection in the gray cluster, you're exposing yourself to a whole different information network, because this one connection into this different cluster will have access to totally different information than will somebody in the blue cluster, right? And there's a lot of research done on this out of Stanford. And what the researchers who did this work were studying the power of weak ties versus strong ties when you're looking for a job. So let's just illustrate this with a quick story. So let's say that this pink dot that says you is Bert, because I saw that Bert's coming to the event today. And then so Bert is looking for a new career opportunity. And let's say that the blue dots represent his immediate family, his wife, his kids, maybe his dad. These are strong ties. Bert knows these people really, really well. And their information is likely to be pretty redundant. That is, his wife and maybe his kids, they tend to know the same people and have access to the same type of information. So if Bert was to go and, say, walk next door to his neighbor, who maybe is represented by one of these gray dots, maybe the neighbor has access to a totally different information network. And so while Bert might be asking his strong ties about career opportunities, they're not going to have this diverse source of information, but the gray dot might have a totally new opportunity for Bert that he would not have access to. So the point is that by adding these weak ties, you start to really enrich your information network. And that's also supported by the work of researchers at MIT. So I'm going to go back to just showing myself here. So if you look here on the right in the showcase tabs, you'll see that there is this item called Management Value, Productivity, and IT. And so this was done, this is a pretty extensive survey that was done of IT workers in the United States and sponsored by the National Bureau of Economic Research. And 3 researchers at MIT did work on what the most valuable type of information technology is for managers. And what they found is that the most valuable, the highest ROI type of technology for managers is personnel databases. So oftentimes if you work at a really big company, you have an internal personnel database, and now we all have access to LinkedIn. And so as you build out a really big LinkedIn network, you have access to all these people. So being able to use that network turns out to be the highest value management activity, for managers based on this research. So those are two ways that LinkedIn is really strategic. You get the weak ties information, and also you can use it as a personnel database, right? All right. So moving on, I'm just going to show you I'm going to show you one really good success story about LinkedIn, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead and start screen sharing again. And I'm going to show you the profile of this guy, Kurt Strand. Here he is. Okay, so Kurt Strand is the Senior Vice President of Products at McGraw-Hill Higher Education. And this is pretty important for a company like mine, like Eazl, because we do some partnerships with colleges and universities. So with Kurt, I didn't know him at all. I just found him on LinkedIn, and I sent out invitations to a bunch of people in McGraw-Hill Higher Education. And I knew that Kurt was a really high priority contact. So what I did is I went here and I created a contact for Kurt in Podio. And if you're taking any of the career courses with Eazl, you know that we use Podio as a way to add contacts and then send ourselves reminders about them. So the tasks that are here, you can see on Kurt, these aren't all the tasks, but basically I sent Kurt an invitation request, and then I created a task to follow up with him. And then I did, and eventually he connected back with me, and I was able to speak with him on the phone. And then Kurt sent me to Matt, which is the guy who is basically responsible for checking out new startups that might be acquisition targets for McGraw-Hill. Now, Eazl's not trying to be an acquisition target, but we might do a partnership with McGraw-Hill. And it all started because of a LinkedIn request, right? And then if you'll look down here, after I had a conversation with Kurt, he was really cool. He's obviously a very busy guy. I left him a LinkedIn recommendation. So now, anytime that somebody visits Kurt's public LinkedIn profile, look at the first thing that they see. They see my LinkedIn recommendation of Kurt. So this shows you the power of using LinkedIn to approach people and then follow up with them and get them on the phone. And I also did this with Michelle Chavity, who led Eazl to have a membership with a startup accelerator in San Francisco. So it can be really, really powerful. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to go back to, I think that here, now this is now you guys saw it. So here's what I was talking about. I see I didn't have the present to everybody on. So here's my Podio view, but here's Kurt. And so as I mentioned, he's a Senior Vice President of Products at McGraw-Hill. And there's my recommendation that I was talking to you about there. All right, cool. So I'm going to go back to here. All right. Okay, so here I am. I'm back. All right, cool. So now let's move on to Boolean searching. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the screen sharing, and we're going to start building up our Boolean search muscles. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that as well. All right, so start the screen share. Okay, so now we're going to go back to LinkedIn, and I'm just going to I'm going to go here to the search function. All right, cool. So let's start building some of our Boolean search muscles here in LinkedIn. So what we're going to use as our exercise for the day, at least on my end, is trying to infiltrate YouTube, because Eazl has a big announcement coming with YouTube, and I want to connect with people who are affiliated with YouTube. So what I'm going to do here to start is I'm just going to show you some of the basic uses of this. So let's say that I want to connect with people who have partnership type of work with YouTube. So what you're going to do here is you're going to go to YouTube, and then you're going to do in all caps and partnerships. So now if you have your LinkedIn profile up, you might try to do that yourself. Think of an organization or a social group or a function that you're trying to connect with and just get used to that. For example, let's think about somebody in real estate. For example, if you were in real estate, then you need to be able to search maybe real estate and finance, which brings us to the next tool. So let's say that in this case, we're going to do this real estate and finance just as an exercise. Now you want to be able to use quotes, because if you look at this, right now what you have is you have real estate and finance. Well, this and operator is going to connect estate and finance. So it's saying real is one search term, and then estate and finance. And you can think of this operator as a way to shrink the number of search results that you're going to get. It doesn't expand it, because you're saying only send me results for profiles or companies that have both estate and finance. So it shrinks your world. But obviously, it's not that we want to find people that have estate and finance. We want to find people that have real estate and finance. So this is where you use the quote function. So if we search by real estate and finance, we're only going to come up with the people that have that real estate phrase and finance. See what comes up here? Real estate finance, right? All right. So look at, just for an exercise, I'm going to show you what happens if we just do this without quotes. I bet you we have different profiles come up. Oh, it looks like it worked pretty well. But anyway, all right, cool. So let's go ahead and narrow this down even more. I'm going to go back to my search results. Now, what you have over here on the left-hand side is you have some filters. And probably the most relevant filters for you are going to be two. The first one is the location filter. So let's say that you want to search in San Francisco. It's going to come up. And now you can basically find yourself see all these people that do real estate and finance in San Francisco. And then the other filter that can be really useful to you are these two, group members and second connections. And that's because you're invited to connect more easily with people who are second connections and group members than you are with third connections. It's not that you can't connect with third connections, but these are a little bit easier. And what you can see here is look at the amount of results here. Over 10,000. LinkedIn won't even let you see 10,000. So you can see that if you started to connect with people in real estate finance in San Francisco, you can be really busy for a long time doing that. All right. So if at the moment you're seeing the Google Hangout go way back, I just want to take your attention to the showcase, because in the showcase, you have this Eazl's guide to Boolean search terms. This is usually something that is only available to people who are in the career courses, but I've made it available to anybody who's watching, so you can get that and you should be able to download that. All right, cool. So let's go back to LinkedIn. All right, now let's go ahead and check and work with the OR operator. So let's go back to our search for YouTube and partnerships. Cool. So the problem with sometimes the problem is that some people might have, for example, partnership in their title, and other people would have partnerships, right? So like, for example, partnership manager or manager of partnerships. So you want LinkedIn to return you both of those, but you want to keep it in this same framework here. So what you do is you use the OR operator. So in this case, or is going to expand the amount of search results that you get because it's saying YouTube and partnership or partnerships. So now you should get results from both partnership or partnerships. But right now it's saying this YouTube and partnerships or partnership. And I know that this is sounding kind of like weird semantics, but the thing is you need to put these parentheses in to get what you want. So now what you've told the search engine is that you want YouTube, but it has to be somebody who also has either partnerships or partnership. If you take out these brackets, you're not going to get that. You're going to get, it's not going to cluster partnerships or partnership. So let's see if this expands our results. We got 39,000 or so. Let's see. Now we got 59,000. You see what I mean? So you can use this a lot because, for example, let's say that you're a job searcher. Sometimes people's titles are recruiter. Sometimes it's HR manager. Sometimes it is human resources, right? So now you see how that works? Now watch this. We're going to pull up all of the recruiters. Look, technical recruiter at Google, right? So now we're getting some, if anybody wanted to work at YouTube, you know, this was a good way to start. So you can see how these are the main tools, the and function, the or function, the parentheses, and also the quotations to make your phrases searchable as phrases instead of individual words, right? All right, cool. So let's go, there's one other tool that I want to show you in terms of searching for people, okay? So now you know how to get this initial list of people. Let's say we want to limit it to San Francisco. Okay, cool. Now, what we're going to do, let's open Marlene's profile here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open it in a new tab. Here we go. I'm going to close Kurt out here. Okay. So what you're going to see here when we open Marlene's profile is we should find people that are similar. Oh, here we go. People similar to Marlene. So you see this here? Now, this means that look at these profiles. Technical recruiter at Postmates. There's another data science recruiter at Google. Technical recruiter at Google. Technical recruiter at Apple. So let's say, for example, that we wanted to, we're a technical person and we're just looking to expand our network with technical recruiters. So what I'm going to do again is I'm just going to open in a new tab. Usually this is done by at least on the Apple, you hold down the command and then you click the profile. So now we've got Renee's profile open, right? Now here you also have this people also viewed tab, right? Now look at this, watch, look at how many recruiters we can open real fast. Boom, 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 boom. So now check that out. We've got, within 30 seconds, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 recruiter profiles open within 30 seconds. So now you're starting to see how we can network really powerfully using these tools. So basically, the two tools that I wanted to show you here are the Boolean functions, and then also that ability to open the similar profiles and people also viewed when you start to open, when you're starting to look to sort of, you know, infiltrate a cluster, right? Okay, so I'm going to go and get back here on screen. Cool. All right. Hi, everybody. Cool. So the culture of LinkedIn is pretty open. Now, the thing is, you need to have a good profile. So, in case you want to see mine, you can go to that showcase thing and you can see my profile. And if you're in any of the career management courses, you have access to, obviously, the training modules on how to build yourself a great profile. A lot of it is about communicating visually. So as long as you have a solid profile and you send a nice connection request and it seems to make sense to the person why it is that you're sending them a connection request, a lot of people will accept your connection. I mean, that's why I have like 3,000 connections here on LinkedIn, because, I'll just send them something like to say, hey, I see that you were recently featured in Forbes as somebody who's an expert in online learning. I would love to follow you here on LinkedIn. And if you need some word tracks on sending those connection requests, you have that in the showcase box under the CCMM and e-networking word tracks, okay? You can download that guide and that'll give you the word tracks that you need, and it'll show you the process for escalating a relationship from something that is just a LinkedIn connection to being somebody who's kind of like your ally, right? And on the openness conversation, the thing is, not all countries are the same, right? So if you're watching this from Russia or from the Middle East, those are relatively conservative cultures. Some people might be more conservative with connecting. Whereas if you're watching this from somewhere like Canada or the United States, people tend to be really open to connecting. And just think of it this way, okay? This is how I would share it with you after being a really experienced LinkedIn user. The thing is, you want to connect yourself with people who are open connectors. So we've done some data, as you'll see from the modules in the LinkedIn and the career hacking courses. And the more senior you go in an organization, the less likely they are to connect. So we found that something like if you're connecting with a really senior person, then it'll be like about a 20% chance that they'll connect back with you. And if you're with a relatively junior person, it'll be more like 40%. So if you send out 100 connection requests, you're going to get 40 new connections. And those people are going to be the more open, people on LinkedIn. And that's cool. You want to be connected to people who are open, because those are the kind of people who are going to be more likely to talk to you, to help you out, to agree to an informal chat or a Skype chat. And that's who you want, right? So it's okay that people are going to say no. Don't worry about that. It's a volume game, okay? There's a lot of people in the world, like 6 billion people or something. So it's okay to just connect with the people who are open. Okay, so now we're going to do some power gaming. All right, so at this time, I invite you to open your LinkedIn profile and just listen to me on the headphones if you want. And we're going to do some power gaming. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend maybe 3 minutes seeing how many people I can connect with. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to count them. So if you're watching me, maybe you can count them. It's 5:30 right now. Here we go. I'm going to infiltrate YouTube in 3 minutes. All right, so I'm going to start presenting here. And what this should do, and I've heard this from people who've been in webinars like this before, is it should increase your confidence that you can do this too. All right, so there are my brackets. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just going to start with these two. Here's 3. Okay, cool. There's three profiles. Now I'm going to start ballooning. Here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Video producer. Okay. Okay, that's it. I don't see anybody else there who I want to connect with. Let's see. There's that person's good. There's a good one. There's a good one. There's a good one. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. There's a good one. It's showing me who I've already reached, who I've already opened. All right. Let's see. I'm getting some engineering people. We want more of the YouTube people. Here we go. This one looks good. Roll tape. She's probably some kind of producer. Oh, here's a help outs. Okay, cool. So she's probably some kind of tutorial producer. Okay, I don't see anybody there. Okay, I don't see anybody there. Okay. Studio manager at Google, I dig that. Video producer, dig that. Okay. There's one there. Okay. Production manager, video at Google, video production at Google. Head of video, that's good. Production manager, producer. Okay, now I'm going to start connecting. So I'm going to go back to the beginning here. My first open connection. Okay, here it is. Now I'm going to just send, when I ask them to connect, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do friend, and I'm just going to do a little note here. All right, cool. So you see my custom message. Now I'm going to copy it. So I've just pushed Open Apple A and then Open Apple C to copy it. And here go the invitations. Boom. Okay. Connect. Friend. Then we're going to go Liza. So there's 2. There's 3. There's 4. Developer advocate, I don't want him. Don't want developer advocate. Don't want developer marketing. Here we go. This person's good. There's 5. All right, category head help outs. All right, Lindsay, let's see if we're going to be friends. I think that's 6, if anybody's counting. What am I here? I'm at 4 minutes. Okay, so 6 and 4 minutes. Oh, he's a software guy. I don't want to connect with him. Justin, let's see. There's 7. All right, there's Gabe. He looks great. The video guy. There's 8. Okay. Studio manager, David. This dude is right up the alley. Doesn't even have to change his name. Sweet. And I just noticed here, you'll see that sometimes it'll recommend people that are kind of like the people you just connected with. Cool. Here's Nicholas. I think this is what, 9 or 10? Okay, friend. Cool. Send invitation. Sweet. Here's Will. This is like 11. He's a lead. Okay. You guys might be thinking like, whoa, what if all these people say, I don't know Davis? The thing is, LinkedIn is a place to connect with people. What is that, 12? And I have had one time, I have had LinkedIn send me something like, too many people said they didn't know you. And then they're just like, don't do it again. So it's not like you're going to get punished. LinkedIn wants you on the network. They want you connected with people. I think that's 13. Video producer. There's 14. Okay, cool. Here's Rebecca. I don't have a good feeling about her. I'm going to nix that. Oh, strategic partner manager. This is the person I want here. Okay, that's like 14. Okay, I'm going to leave that open. I'll show you why in a second. Content partnerships, boom. Okay. So that's 15. Okay, cool. All right, so that was 15 in 6 minutes. That's pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to show you why I left these 2 open. All right, so I'm going to go and open my Podio again. Okay. And I'm going to go here to contacts. All right. I'm going to go here to the Eazl. All right. All right, now the reason I left these open is that, hey, why is it not doing that here? Eazl. Here we go, Eazl contacts. Okay, so the reason I left that open is because I saw something here about Monica and Kristen. Okay, so Kristen is, I would consider her a VIP. I mean, because she's the manager of content partnerships at YouTube Entertainment. That sounds like somebody that I want to know. And I also want to know this person. This can kind of go on forever. Look at this. Content strategy. I mean, this is the, look at that. I gotta connect with these people. So I'm gonna not do it on the Hangout, but I'm gonna connect with them after the Hangout. All right, cool. So Kristen, I sent her a connection request, and I sent, here, I want to find this other person here, Monica. I reached out to her, and then here is Podio. Okay. So Monica, I saw, she looks pretty good. She looks like a pretty solid connection. So between Kristen and Monica, I don't want to let this drop. And, you know, look, Kristen is probably pretty senior, right? I mean, she is senior. She's a VIP. She's a manager. So is Kristen maybe going to not get back to me? Maybe not. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy her LinkedIn profile here. Let's see if I can find her. There it is. Get her URL. I'm going to go over to Podio. Okay. Kristen, I think her name was Kristen Bowen. Oops. Yeah, actually, I don't even need to create a contact for her. So in Podio, in my contacts, I'm just going to create a task. I'm going to say follow up. And I've got her link there. I'm going to put my name here. And then I'm going to put my due date. I'm going to give her like maybe, I'm going to give her till Friday. No, I'll give her till Tuesday. Give her a week. Okay. And then I'm going to say, this is a hack that you might know. Sent LinkedIn message, or I do this, SLIR, sent LinkedIn request on, what's today, the 26th? No, 21st. 7/21, did she get back? Okay, now what Podio is going to do in a week is it's going to send me this email and say, did Kristen Bowen get back to me or not? I'm going to create that task, okay? Now I'm going to also do that with this Monica Khan person, because she looks like a good person to touch base with. So I'm just going to copy her profile, go into my Podio here, create a task. We do, did Monica get back? And then here's Davis, okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So custom date, I'm going to do next Tuesday, and then just keep it fast. All right, cool. All right, so that's how you use Podio to do this stuff. And let me show you what I mean here. Let's go to Michelle Chavity. Where's my messages? All right. I was hoping to show you. Okay, so Michelle, she's actually not very good on LinkedIn. She doesn't get back. I work with her very closely, but I did exactly what I was just showing you, and I had to send Michelle 3 different connection reminders. I just said, hey, I sent you a connection request, Michelle. I think you're perfect for working with me. Is there any way we can chat? And Michelle got back to me after a while. It took like 3 messages. So for some VIPs, you're going to want to do that Podio system where you follow up with them and say, hey, what's up? Can we connect or what? But you just saw that in like, what, 6 minutes, I connected with 15 people at YouTube. So based on our stats, you know, let's say that those are all like mid-level employees. which is like they connect like something like 30% of the time. So if we do that, that means that like I'm going to get about 5 YouTube connections out of those 15 people. And then when I use them use the CCMM, I say, hey, can I have a chat? This is what I'm looking for. You know, maybe 1 or 2 of them gets back. But just look at how easy it is to get 2 chats with people at YouTube, right? That's pretty freaking sweet. I mean, YouTube is like blowing up. And how can you do that? How could you do that for your sales operations, strategic partnerships, your job hunting, right? That's how this stuff is so powerful. Okay, so I guess what I'll do is I'll show you what I mean by the CCMM here. So actually what I can do here is I'm going to go back to Kurt. Let me go back to my messages here. No, Kurt. So let's see here if I can get my messages open. Well, this will do. Okay, so let me see if I can screen share with you guys here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so here's the last message that I sent to Kurt. And this would be the 3rd step. I'm going to get the CCMM guide open here so I can show you what I mean. Well, in CCMM, if my spotlight doesn't do it, the first C is connect, the second C is chat, the 3rd is meet, and the 4th is mushroom. So what you're looking at here in this message is the mushroom. Kurt told me in my conversation with him that there was this guy, Matt, who works on all of the pilot programs for McGraw-Hill. So I said, hey, can you connect me with Matt? That's who I want to talk with. And so here you're seeing is the CCMM guide. So you have this, basically this is what I did here on the connect. It's just one of these word tracks. And then you want to get a chat. And then you want to meet. You know, I had a phone call with Kurt, which is how I met him. And then he told me about Matt, and then that's the mushroom. Okay. So that's basically the system is you want to connect first, and then you chat. Right here, chat, and then you meet, and then you mushroom, right? That's the way you use it to infiltrate somewhere like YouTube, McGraw-Hill, whatever you need to do, right? Okay, cool. So we're about to start the Q&A session. So I'm going to just pose a challenge to you, okay? Here are 2 challenges. First challenge, give somebody a recommendation. Give somebody cool a recommendation on LinkedIn, and then get yourself a recommendation. Ask them if there's any way they can recommend you. And it makes your profile look great, you know what I'm saying? And I know that it's challenging, but don't worry about it. Look, LinkedIn is open. You want to be open, even if you're an introvert, be open, get those recommendations. It looks really good. You can check out my profile. You'll see all the recommendations I have. You know, it shows that there's a real community around me, like you guys, right? Leave me a LinkedIn recommendation. I'll leave you one too. Okay, the second challenge I have for you is to send 20 connection requests within 10 minutes. So identify yourself a target cluster, do what we just did, and send out 20 connection requests within 10 minutes. I know that you can do it. You'll be a more and more powerful networker because of that. All right, so before we go to the Q&A, 2 things I want to ask of you. The first one is please visit Eazl's YouTube channel. We have a big announcement coming about YouTube, and we could really use subscribers because there are certain features that we get access to at 1,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would really help me out, and I would really appreciate it. And you know, if you like what you're seeing, please leave reviews on Skillshare, Udemy, wherever you're coming from. We'd really appreciate it. All right, cool. So I'm going to go here to the Q&A feature and see if there are any questions. Oh, dang, I didn't enable it. That's my fault here. Let me enable it here. Give me 1 second. I'll enable the Q&A. All right, well, I don't want to keep you guys, but I'm just trying to see. I don't know how I can enable the Q&A feature. Well, if you have any questions, I'll tell you what, since I haven't been able to since I didn't do the Q&A feature to start, then email me or hit me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. I'm happy to answer your questions about LinkedIn. My email address is davis@eazl.co, davis@eazl.co. And I would love your feedback about the event. Let me know what could have been better, what could have been, what's not so great. And I will catch you guys at the next event. Thanks so much for being here.